Hi everyone, welcome to this tutorial video on how to reinforce a set of concrete stairs using Revit 2019. So this is the latest version, 2019.1. I'm going to start with adding a concrete stair into my model. So I'll go to my architecture tab and choose the stair tool, and under the type I'm going to put in the monolithic staircase. I'm going to put in a straight staircase to start, and then I'm going to add a landing onto the top using the rectangle sketch tool. So let's say about a meter long, so something like that, and then I confirm that as my sketch, and we have a quick look in 3D, and there I have my stair. So what I've done in this stair type is, in the properties, is that under the run type I have created a version which has no nosing length. The default out of the box automatically has a nosing length applied, so it does the sort of stagger there. If we put a section through that, you will see what I'm talking about. So view section and just run a section quickly through the stairs, and you will see that it has a railing, so I'm going to delete that off. And that's the little 25mm nosing. So I'm just going to quickly edit that again into my run type and set that value back to 0. So now I'm ready to start reinforcing my stairs. So I've put my section in, and I'm going to start putting in the rebar into this. So I go to my structural tab and choose rebar. I'm going to confirm that I'm not including hooks or end treatments. And I'm just going to use the standard cover definition at 40mm. You can adjust it and change it prior to adding the reinforcement. So with the staircase, I'm not going to use the standard rebar shapes. I'm going to start sketching the bars because it gives me more control on what I want to do. So I'm going to start at the bottom, and I'm going to sketch a bar in that's coming from the bottom, and I'm going to come up the stairs probably about 500. I'm not going to be too accurate. I'm just going to click it into place, then hit my line, and then adjust it through its temporary properties. So I want a bar in that position. I'm going to put that in as a let's go with a H12. So H12 bar in that position, and I just confirm it, and that will sketch that bar into shape. I'm going to change that from a maximum spacing and set that to 200. At this stage, I'm going to put in a section at the bottom. So I'm going to again go to my view tab and add a section looking through the stairs at that. And I'm just going to reduce the length of the scope box for the section back, so it's only looking through my main bars. And that's currently what I have in position. So if you wish, you can reduce your crop region down. So there's my main bar in position at the bottom. Back to section 1, and let's sketch in the next bar. So I'm going to go to, again, structure, rebar, sketch a rebar, select my set of stairs, and then I'm going to take it from the top to the bottom. So I should be able to find that intersection point there, and then again I'm coming up, and again I'm going to just set that value to 500, and that is my bar into position. And again I'm going to do that as a 12, and I confirm that. Now what you will get is the bars lapping on top of each other, and if we just look at my section here, you can see that I'm just going to move this, maybe just adjust my section slightly so it's just looking a little bit deeper, so I can see what's happening with the bar. And this bar, I'm just going to move it into position, so I want to put it, let's say, there. So that is the bar in position, and I'm just going to use a copy with a multiple, and I'm going to copy that bar across. The reason I don't distribute them is it's sometimes very tricky to get them all lined up correctly. I'm just going to come across each time, and then once I get to here, I'm going to position that on the inside so that I'm still respecting my cover positions. I think that one is slightly out of position. I'm just going to make sure that making sure that I'm copying perpendicular across, so making sure that each one and then just move this one position. So if we look at this in my 3D view, you'll see that there's my bars. I'm just going to right click, select all the rebar in the host, and then edit the visibility graphic for the 3D view unobscured, view as solid. And there I have my bars in position, and you can see that I'm lapping. In my view, if we look at my visibility graphics, I've got some filters set up for the layers and also the shapes. You can see my shape 15 is coming through as magenta. If I change that color, I can just select it, change that color, and we can say, let's say the bars need to be orange. Click OK, and then apply, and OK. And there's the bars colored in position. So back to section again, and let's look at this. So we want to put in the next bar, so I'm going to position again, sketch it, select my stairs, going from the top to the top, and I'm just going to extend that bar 500, that position. I'm going to confirm that. If we have a look in our section, there is now this bar in position, and again I'm just going to simply move it to that position. So if we have a look at that in 3D and make sure that this is actually working in the correct position, again I'm just going to edit the graphics and again make unobscured and solid, and you'll now see you have this bar in position, and it's now lapping up against the one below. So back on my section 2, so this is my bar, and then again just to copy multiple, and we just keep the same principle, so it copies it across each time. And let's have a look at our 3D, and again we just select all the rebar and host, and again do something like that. So because I'm going on shape code, they're obviously all the same color. If you wanted to do something that was a little bit different, you could just select the run of bars, and then you could right click, override graphics just by that element, and you could give them a slightly different color if you wish. So let's say we go with peachy color, and again you will see that you have a different color. It may be better to actually just go with something a little bit more bolder. So again we'll, let's say, go with a green, apply, and OK. So we've now got our green bars at the bottom, and if you wish you could do each of these as you build it up. If you want to have your 3D model detailed, I think I'm actually missing a bar, so I'll just need to select this and then just do a copy across. I think in its first instance I probably I'm just going to select these in section, and then I'm going to recolor them in my 3D view. So override graphics in view by element, and I'm going to change this so that it is solid, and let's go with the cyan color. So now we've got the bars like that. Concentrate on the top. So again go to section 1, and it's a case of rebar, sketch, select my staircase, and we'll go bottom to bottom. So from here to here I'm going to take it down a distance, select my sketch line, and then modify its temporary dimensions, confirm it, and then I'm going to set this one out so it's a maximum spacing 200. And if we check our 3D, you will have your bars in at the top, and again select all the rebar and host, edit the visibility settings on obscured and solid, and now we see our bars. So what I will do now is put a section in at the landing. So again I'm going to go to the view tab, section, let's put a section in that direction. We have a look, and there we have our bar starting to be positioned. Probably at this instance good time to just pull this back slightly so we're only viewing the bars here. So there we have these bars in position. So back to section 1, and let's put in the next set. So structure, rebar, sketch, select my host, and we will do bottom to top. So we come across to here, and I'm just going to do this in 2 separate lines, and then I'm going to use my trim and extend to set the distance, and again I'm going to set this to 500. Again, values, the way you set these out can completely vary. And there we have this bar in position. So again, go to section 3, you will see that the bar is there, and I'm going to move it into position from the end point from there to there, and then I'm going to go copy multiple and just copy it straight across in each position. And then here I'm just going to place this bar on the inside, so from there to there. Then we check our 3D and we should see our bars are now in position. So select all rebar and host, editor visibility, solid and unobscured, and that gets us our bars in position. And I'm going to make these, let's say we'll override these colors so they can be something else. So over our graphics in view by element, and we will change them to solid, and let's go with our green, and we select apply. Okay, so that is these bars. Back to section 3 again, or actually section 1, and let's do the rebar again, sketch, there's our host, and we'll go top to top, so from there to there. Let's say we, and I just trim and extend that value to that one. Now this distance I might make a little bit longer. If it was 500, I will get a little bit of engagement, so I will be able to tie it, so I'm probably okay with that. Confirm that position, that's the bar, and then we just need to make sure that nothing is getting in the way. So I'm just going to increase the length of that scope box so we can just see down the stair a little bit more, and there we have this. So this should be able to be positioned in line with our first bar, and then we should be able to just copy that multiple straight across into each position. So there's our bars selected, and I'm just going to override graphics in view by element, and I'm going to change them to this color, and then they're going to be cyan in color. And then we select all our rebar and host and edit the visibility. So that now puts our bars at the bottom, bars at the top. So back on section 1, and let's put our bars in on the bottom side of the stair. So we go to rebar. You could put in a standard shape at this stage. You can see that it will respect the cover, so it could go with something like that with a 0, 0. And we could go max spacing, let's say 200, but again, if we just leave it on a single and then we just manually position this bar, so that is it there. Look at section 2, there is the bar in position. All I really probably want to do is just change the length of the bar engagement to something like that, stretch it down, and we'll just stretch that into position there. So we're just getting a lap, and then there's our bar, and then we can just copy it across. I'm thinking about it, can probably go with a 200 spacing, so that will put the bars in there, and then we just have a look in our 3D and we just edit the graphics, and you will see that if we just quickly change that filter, because the 0, 0s, if we change that color possibly to, let's say, magenta, have our bars, so everything's coming up there, starting to look pretty good. And then we just need to look on section and just put in some of our links across. So again, I'm going to 0, 0. I'm going to change it to perpendicular to cover, and you can see that we can pop that in, let's say in that position. I can edit its constraints and move it 12 millimeters, and then I can change it, let's say to max spacing, let's say 250, and that will rotate it up there. I'm going to tick off the first bar, and then that will probably work pretty good, so I'm okay with that type of thing. We have a little look, and we just edit the graphics, and we'll just unobscure make solid. And if you wish, you could override the graphics just so your visual starts to look a little bit better. Solid, and we will go with, what have we not used? Let's say red, and we click apply, click OK. And then just a few more bars to add. I'd probably put some bars here, so again, rebar, I'll go with, let's say 3 bars in that direction. I will edit the constraints, and we'll put it up 12 millimeters. Actually, we will just manually move it, let the bar is sitting above its placement, so it goes to there. So that looks pretty good. And then if you wish, you could put in a fixed number. Let's say we want 3 bars along there, and again we just move them into position, and then you can just use the drag button to drag it back. And let's have a look. So I'm just going to select all the rebar and host and edit the visibility settings for unobscured and solid, and that pretty much is my stairs reinforced. So I'm going to start looking at creating my drawings. So I'm going to look at section 1, and I'm going to start hiding off the levels. I'm going to hide off my sections and just start to change the size of the crop. So I'm going to start, I want to present this for production. So I've got some view templates already preset, so I'm just going to go, I've got an RC elevation, and what that does, it brings everything down to a single line. And I'm just going to hide my section. I'm going to change it so it's hides at less than 1 to 10, and again the same with this, and again okay. So we've got this. Now we can start to putting in some annotation. So I can do a multi-rebar on this, and I can position that, and then something like that. This can be changed depending on what we're doing, and if we start tagging some of these bars, we can go tag by category. I can choose my 12s. Let me put that back in again. So annotate, tag by category, and we'll do our single there, and we'll tag that there. Again, these tags, depending on the way that you set them up, you can change it to different types. I've just set some, so let's say I'm going to tag like that. If we were doing just a single like that, and then we'll tag, let's say these bars, and again just select my tag and annotate, and we'll just tag these top bar. So again, something like that, and then you can add whatever dimensions you want. And then I'm going to hide off my crop region, and hide off my 2 elements just to double check my crop. That is okay for there. I'm going to look at my section 2. Again, I'm going to set the scale. I'm going to hide that off, hide the level as well. And again, I've got a view template set, so I've got a section. Again, I can probably try my elevation. Takes it to something like that. So it just depends on what way you want to detail this up or what you want to change it. We may want to put in a bar mark. So let's say we tag that and we can put that down. I can change this type of tag to just be a bar mark. Tick off the leader and then they can be positioned like that. If we decide to, let's say, take off the template and just set that to 10, and then usually I'll just copy these across. If you wanted to tag, let's say, these bars here, again you can just change that to a bar mark without a leader, and then they can be positioned like that. So again, all just depends on really what you want to show, whatever information it is. So something like that can work pretty well. And then we'll just quickly change and update, and we can now start to produce a drawing. It's the same process for this, but I'm just going to do section 1 and section 2 of my drawing. I can click into, I've got my schedules, my beam types. If we look at a sheet, I've got a sheet set up which is all starting to work with a bar bending schedule, and that will work if I give the stair a partition number. But if we start looking at our drawing, so we can start to draw our, there could be section 1, and we can take section 2. And then if we've got a 3D section as well, we can have something like that. If you want, you could just lock it down, and you can start to tag by category if you wish, but I'm just going to change this, let's say to 1:50. We will annotate, tag by category, and you can start to see that. We can show that. I can then change how that's done. Let's find that and position. So again, you're just sort of setting these out as you wish. These can both change to, depending on the way that you want. So I've got full line, got the quantity. So something like that. Just check my crop region and just trim it back. Hide that off, go to my drawing, and then I can drag my 3D view to it. See, that's not quite big enough, so I'll just quickly go to this, goes to 20, to my sheet. Just partition all the rebar. That should then fill out my schedule. and then you can see just by sketching in my bars, tagging, labeling, setting it up bit by bit, you can get your drawings.